Whoa, guys, I don't know how many of you all are still paying attention to the aftermath from Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton and FEMA's response to these storms, but it recently came out that FEMA was purposely overlooking some areas and some homes, purposely not lending any help to anyone who they thought were voting for Donald Trump. So they would leave out entire neighborhoods. If you had a Trump sign anywhere near your house, you were SOL. They were not going to help you. Now, when this was discovered, a lot of leaked documents and text messages came out, and FEMA kind of tried to place all of the blame on one FEMA supervisor by the name of, I believe it's Marnie Washington. I think that's how you pronounce it. Don't quote me. But they basically took all of it and dumped it on her. They said, hey, FEMA, we as FEMA, we don't know anything about this. We don't have anything to do with this. This is all this one woman's doing. It's all her fault. This isn't happening anywhere else. It's only her, right? They basically tried to dump everything on one woman. Now, I figured that, yeah, this woman was guilty of telling people not to go help Trump supporters. Yeah, I could believe that, but I couldn't believe that she was the only one. And if you go look at the text messages and some of the documents that have leaked, the way she was speaking so confidently. You know, and I mean, it wasn't like these were whispers in people's ears. I'm talking about text messages that are being sent out to hundreds of people, openly discussing this. So I felt like if she was this bold, this must be just part of the culture. This must just be how things work at FEMA. She had nothing to worry about until the messages leaked. I feel like there was no way that she would be this confidently saying some of these things, you know, across these open platforms and in text messages, if she didn't feel comfortable in her position at her job, if she didn't feel comfortable saying these things. I immediately looked at the text messages, I looked at some of the documents, and I already knew, hey, this is not an isolated situation. This is a bigger problem at FEMA. Well, guess what? Listen, I know a lot of people have moved on from this story, but it's really getting juicy now. Marnie Washington, or however you pronounce her name, she's come out and said, wait. You're not going to dump all this on me, okay? Because this is how things work at FEMA. So FEMA tried to throw her under the bus, and I told you in past videos that I think she's the scapegoat. Yeah, I think she's guilty of doing this, but I don't think she's the only one. I think this is a bigger problem, you know, at FEMA. I think this is how they treat everyone. And if you look at some of the other disasters we've covered, like in East Palestine, Ohio, it all lines up, it all makes sense. But Marnie Washington is now out here speaking out. She even went on Fox News of all places. And she's just like straight up, you're not going to throw me under the bus. Yeah, I did it. Yeah, I said those things. But this was, you know, orders that were coming up from people who were higher up than me. But before I go any further, let's go ahead. Let's roll this news clip, and then I'll be right back with more.
Keep having this messaging coming out of these agencies, especially during the Biden-Harris administration, that, you know, there's nothing to see here. With regards to FEMA, they are being now presented with evidence that they were treating people differently based on their partisan views. That is an incredible discovery in the United States of America. And so, of course, you're going to have an investigation. We're not going to wait.
Well, FEMA insisting that the case of an agency supervisor telling relief workers to avoid Trump campaign signs at homes during disaster response is an isolated incident. Let's bring in the FEMA official who was fired over the incident, but claims she has been made a scapegoat, Marnie Washington. Marnie, thank you so much for coming on. I want to read this because this is from the FEMA administrator, Deanne Criswell. She said this, and she's talking about you. She said, quoting here, recently, a FEMA employee departed from these values used to advise her survivor assistance team to not go to homes with yard signs supporting President-elect Trump. This was reprehensible. I want to be clear to all of my employees and the American people, this type of behavior and action will not be tolerated at FEMA. You say this is not your policy. You're not political. You don't care about the right or the left. You are simply doing your job and following your orders. So you're telling me these orders came from somebody above?
Correct. When I first reported to Florida, I was already on another team. I was there as a specialist. This was the culture. They were already avoiding these homes based on community trends from hostile political encounters. It has nothing to do with the campaign sign. It just so happened to be part of the community trend. When you focus in on the campaign sign, you are violating the Hatch Act. So that is something that FEMA definitely wants to stay away from, because it was created in 1939, and that was to protect citizens from being alienated based on their political stance.
So just so we're clear, you're saying that basically FEMA was doing this out of safety. They were doing that safe because they had some adversarial conflicts with some people with Trump signs in their front yards. So they banned every Trump sign. They said, don't go to any homes with Trump signs. And if that's the case, why would they come down so hard on you? Why are you the scapegoat? Why are you the one they're saying was, quote, reprehensible for actually putting this in place when you did not put this in place?
What's reprehensible is they're not being transparent. Why is this coming down on me? I am the person that jotted down the notes from my superiors, and my notation in Teams chat was exposed from their surge capacity team. That's exactly what happened, and it's easy to then say, well, haha, it's her name, it's her writing.
Right.
Make her accountable for it. But I'm just simply executing, again, what was coming down from my superiors.
Right. And I'm wondering, because it says things like, when on this list that says avoid the Trump houses, drink water, take rest breaks. So there's a list of things. You didn't come up with those either, right?
No.
So you didn't come up with any of this list. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes, sir.
And I'm wondering, how do you prove that, Marnie? You're trying to save your reputation. How do you prove that this order came from above?
Well, the last time that question was posed, I verbally called on all DSA crew leads and specialists that are still active with FEMA and former to come forward and discuss our avoidance policies, our de-escalation policies. Because, to be honest with you, we don't just I know the highlight here is the Trump campaign signage, but if someone is in another, like an urban community, and it's a different culture and someone feels uncomfortable, we can't go to that home. If you have loose dogs and someone on the team is comfortable with dogs and another person is not, we can't go to that home because of safety precautions.
So you feared the Trump houses. The people on FEMA were fearing the Trump houses like they were fearing people with vicious dogs in their backyard.
Exactly. And that's based on the trends. You can ask FEMA for incident reports. They have those because they ask us to report out if there's an incident at home. And unfortunately, again, the passionate supporters for Trump, some of them were a little bit violent.
But all of them were painted with the same broad brush. All of them as being, we're not going to go near these because we think they're all bad people.
No, because some were registered. Some did receive case inquiries and updates.
Yeah.
Some of them came outside and said, hi, I appreciate what you're doing. I would like to participate. And then some were very vocal and firm that they didn't want anything to do with FEMA, and they thought that we were crooks.
And lastly, we've got to go. We're running out of time here. Did this also happen in other places? This was Florida, but did it happen in North Carolina? Did it happen in other places?
Georgia as well. Just ask the crew leads and the specialists. They will discuss their avoidance and their de-escalation methods in the field. Okay. And I think Ms. Criswell would be happy to know what's going on, truly.
Marnie, thank you for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, first off, I would like to say that all of that safety nonsense, oh, they were scared for their safety, all of that is BS, okay? And the reason why the Trump supporters are hostile, maybe it's because y'all come and purposely ignore them and don't help them every time. It's like you got a policy not to help these people, and you wonder why they don't like you. because you come snooping in these areas and purposely cherry pick certain families to help because those families vote a certain way. So yeah, you're going to have people angry when you're in the neighborhood providing help to 2 homes while ignoring the 15 others. And if you look at the list that she said, that the list and the leaked messages, there's a list of things that they recommend these FEMA workers to do. Like the guy said, take rest breaks, drink water. But it's funny because this list includes avoiding homes where you think Trump supporters live. Now really think about that. You gotta really look at the list because it's like basic things. Hey, be careful, drink water. If you're feeling overheated, take a rest break. Avoid Trump homes. Make sure you eat lunch. Make sure you brush your teeth in the morning. It's like a list of basic things, and avoiding anyone who votes for Trump is just one of those basic things. It's literally listed like right above, hey, make sure you drink enough water and take breaks. So it's wild. It's really wild. It's not like a list of all types of dangerous things to avoid. No, it's like right there next to recommendations like, hey, make sure you drink enough bottled water out there in the heat while you're walking around so you don't get dehydrated. It's crazy, but my main takeaway from this is, and I think other people's takeaway from this should be, it doesn't matter how much you bend the knee to these people or these organizations or agencies, they will throw you under the bus in a heartbeat. You could be part of the machine all you want, but guess what? When the time comes, they will toss you right out. Even this woman, she's sitting there talking to this news anchor, and she's still repeating some of the talking points that she has been brainwashed to repeat. She's saying the talking points that FEMA has brainwashed her into saying without having enough self-awareness to realize, wait, these are the same crooks, the same shady people that just threw me under the bus. You can tell that she's being judgmental towards people who voted for Trump because Trump or the Trump supporters were calling FEMA crooks. But hey, Marnie, do you not think that FEMA are some crooks now? After they threw you under the bus and placed everything onto you that they've been doing for years? And for those of you all who don't know, she's already acknowledged that this was happening in Tennessee, North Carolina, Georgia, Florida. So everywhere affected by these recent hurricanes, it was happening. So there's not a question of, oh, maybe this was just happening in Florida and not in North Carolina where everyone is still missing and stuff. No, it's happening in North Carolina. She already confirmed it. So, boom. I mean, it's sad that all of this has come out now when a lot of people have moved on from this story. A lot of people have moved on from this story. But now we're finally getting some truth. And this means a lot to me that we get this information out here, because I think this proves that, hey, a lot of these other problems we were experiencing with FEMA in the past during these other disasters, now we know what was going on. We all suspected it, but you couldn't pinpoint it and point it out and just accuse people of something without evidence, even though it looks like you would look at the certain demographics, the certain areas that they would ignore, and now we know. Now we know for a fact it's been confirmed by FEMA. It's confirmed by the FEMA supervisor. She said it herself. I didn't have to say it. So it's not like you're sitting here taking my word over FEMA's. No, you're taking FEMA's word. And that's what they've been doing. Really shady, really evil stuff. And I want people to understand that not only are these people not getting help, but due to this way of thinking, lives were lost. There were tons of people who could have been saved who were left for dead because of how our government figured they would vote. And that's just, there's no other way to put it. And if you can't tell how fucking nasty and evil and psychotic that is, then I don't know what to tell you. You're too far gone. But for now, I want you all to go down in the comments below, sound off, share this video, let me know what you think. hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you all very soon in the next one.